Thank you.
Should I call you Zachary or Zach or B? What should I?
No, Zachary is fine. The B is there because if you look up Zachary Bennett on Google, you will find a Canadian actor, and I am not a Canadian actor. So that's why I have the B Zachary Bennett in there.
Yeah, it's very important, isn't it? You've got to Googleize your name. Otherwise, you'll get the wrong coming up. And I remember there was a Julian he that got arrested for something, and so I thought maybe I need to put my middle initial there. Now, Zachary, we're going to talk about marketing, messaging, and why is that important? What is it that people just don't get about this, Zachary?
Well, a lot of people don't understand what marketing even is. Marketing really is all about taking your business to market, taking it to the consumer, making it available for sale in some way. It's very simple. The word marketing, that's what it means, taking your business to market, which means it's all about business communications. So understanding who you are, what you need to say to influence people in the marketplace, it's very important. Every business book you'll ever read will tell you that your business has to market, and yet a lot of people, particularly in the small business community, they don't understand what marketing even is. You ask people what their branding is, a lot of times they'll tell you it's their logo. It's not your logo. There's a lot of misunderstanding that's in the marketplace, and so one of the things that I do is try to go around and educate people as much as they can, because I believe knowledge is power, right? So they can learn how the big boys have done it and go about it the same way, and then they'll be just as successful as the big Fortune 500 companies.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. And what would you say is the first thing that people need to address and change about what they're doing?
Well, the first thing that you need to do, we actually have a process called the straight line marketing process. And if anybody wants to know more about that, we have a web series at straightlinemarketingprocess.com. But the first step in it is identifying who you are, right? So identifying who you are outside of what you do. Your business has to have a personality. It has to have a way to stand out from all of your competition. If you tell the marketplace, you tell the public that you do the same thing as company X, you might as well not even bother. If you're the exact same as another company, there's easier ways to make money, guys. If you're the exact same, don't bother. They have the experience ahead of you. So you have to figure out what makes you special, what makes you different. And then that needs to go into part of who you tell people you are, how you craft your brand image, all of that stuff. So there's a foundation that has to be laid before you ever jump into advertising or opening your doors or any of that. And a lot of people miss that critical step. Building that foundation, figuring out who you are, and then once you figure out who you are, you need to figure out who your target audience is, because otherwise you're just shotgun spraying everything, wasting a whole bunch of money trying to reach everybody. Everybody is not your audience. You need to figure out who they are, what they want to hear, what's going to be influential to them, and that's how you start to build who you're going to be in the marketplace.
Yes, it is very important to not try to go after everybody, isn't it? I think a lot of people fall into that trap, and they might have certain different aspects of what they're offering, and maybe they should actually stop doing some of it and just focus on what it is people want rather than what they want to provide. Do you find that sometimes people are kind of caught up in providing things that maybe people don't really want, and they should focus more on actually developing and honing in on what people really want, the right people?
Yeah, restaurants are actually particularly guilty of that. They'll build a menu and have everything that the chef knows how to cook on it. That's too many options. You need to figure out what are you good at, make that the best that you can, so that it draws people in. And that's the same with any service or any products are a little different because you make what you make. But with services particularly, figure out what you're good at that people want. Right, it has to be something that's desirable in the marketplace, and then become the best person at that you can be.
Excellent. Yes, and You talked about, specializing. We talked about messaging, and what are some of the things that you tell people they need to do? So we work on the messaging, we work on talking to the right people, and doing something a little bit different than what's out there in the market. And how do they get this message out? What are some of the things that you get people to start doing that they're not doing?
Well, a lot of that is going to depend on that foundation that I talked about. If you don't know who you are and who you're targeting to, then you can waste a lot of money spending advertising and marketing in every single which way. There are so many different ways to market, which is why nothing is cookie cutter. It's all this. Your audience needs this. This is where they are, and then you intersect with their life, as opposed to expecting them to come to you. The business needs to go to them. So in order to go to them, you have to know where they are, right? What are their media habits? Where do they live, work, and play? What do they like? What do they dislike? You figure those things out, and then whatever media or marketing strategies line up with that target consumer's life, that's what you need to be doing. Now, there's some things that just about everybody needs to do. Like everybody needs a website, unless you're maybe a gas station. A gas station is the only company I figured out that really doesn't need a website. Everybody else, as soon as somebody finds out about you, they're going to Google you, and they're going to go to your website to see if you're a good fit for them. If you don't have a website, you are missing that opportunity to communicate with those people. Several years ago, a lot of people thought they could replace that with Facebook. It's not what Facebook is for. You need to have a website that can sell and represent you on your behalf without you having to be on the other end of the phone all the time.
Yeah, 100%. And you had this idea to sort of compare and contrast marketing and the process with marriages and relationships. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that idea?
Sure. I do a lot of speaking engagements because I'm a big advocate for the business community. So I get to speak on small business and give workshops all across the country. And one of the things that happened while I was doing that is people started asking me, do you have a book? Do you have a book? Do you have a book? Evidently, you have to have a book if you're a speaker. And I didn't. So during the stay-at-home pandemic, that's what I did is I wrote a book. It's called Married to Marketing. And it is a creative comparison between the business community and the business's relationship with their customers compared to the romantic boy meets girl relationship and the relationship that a husband has with their wife. So it's everybody understands boy meets girl, right? Ever since you were a teenager, you understand relationships that way. So using that for business, I thought would really help people to understand how that works. There's so many different parallels that are all kind of laid out in the book. The other reason why I did that is a lot of business books are boring. And so I tried to write something that was a little more interesting to read. There's a lot of pop culture references in it, that sort of stuff. It's very informative, but it's also an easy read as far as it being something people like to read. It's not all dry words and that sort of stuff. But the idea again is you go through the entire marital process from figuring out who you are when you're a young person to playing in the field, trying to figure out who you're trying to date people, figuring out who you're going to marry, and then eventually you become engaged, and then you have a wedding. Well, your wedding is kind of like your grand opening on your business. So and there's a parallels for every single piece of, even all the way through to divorce, if you want to be modern about it. There's parallels in the business world for all of that. And I find it really helps people to understand how business really works. And I've had a lot of light bulbs go off because a lot of people in the business community use buzzwords, and people don't know what all that means, right? So breaking it down into terms that people understand, that was entertaining at the same time, I thought was helpful.
Wonderful. And how do people get hold of this book, Zachary?
Oh, well, they can get it at bzacharybennett.com, of course. It's also at Walmart, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. I guess the easiest thing for people that are watching this online or whatnot would be to go to Amazon or to my own website. They can get it that way. But every bookstore, even mom and pop bookstores should be able to order it through the publisher. They just have to reach out the way that they always do.
Wow, how did you get your book in Walmart and all those stores?
I have somebody else that does that for me.
Wow, did that pay off a lot better than just having it on Amazon?
Well, not really, honestly, because people don't buy in stores anymore. Everybody buys online, and the biggest online store is Amazon. So most everybody still goes to Amazon. I buy just about everything on Amazon. I walk into Walmart to go buy something, and they say, "Hey, we don't have it. You can order it online." I can order it online myself. You can't just go pick it up anymore. It's frustrating.
I know. I hate going to the stores. Amazon or even AliExpress or eBay. They're just like so great. You just have to wait a little bit, but that's fine. All right, that's cool. And what do you got coming up? What are you doing for people? Do you have any workshops or do you do strategy calls? If people want to get in touch because they like the cut of your jib, Zachary.
Sure. My next workshop that I'm doing is online. It's for the organization SCORE, which is part of the SBA in the United States. And it is on building websites, how to make a website that's effective and actually works to draw people in. That's going to be on the, when is that? I think it's the 21st of this month. If you go, no, 21st of next month, of September. If you go to my website, bzacharybennett.com, you'll find it there. After that, I'm speaking at a Santa conference, which is interesting. All the people that are Santa as a business, they have a conference in Atlanta, and they've wanted me to come out and speak to them about how they can market their business. So there's tons of different businesses out there. That is a unique one, which is why I mentioned it.
In about 5 years, if you don't shave, you're going to be able to be a Santa, Zachary.
Yeah, could be.
Now, just what you said about websites, though, I tell you what, that's fantastic. But a lot of people will go, websites, everyone knows how to do a website or get a website, but not from a marketing standpoint and getting eyeballs and using copywriting and all of that stuff, Zachary. That is just gold, isn't it? But people don't really understand that.
Well, one of the biggest, most misleading things out there are people like Wix.com and people that tell you can make your own website. Well, the ability to do it and the know-how to do it are not the same thing. There's things like, W3C compliance that you have to deal with. There's knowing what to put up there, knowing how to code things, because if you just use their templates, you are going to look like you just used the template. It's all cookie cutter. It's not special, and it's not going to have the attraction if you customize it. And to customize it, you have to know more code, and you have to know all that homework stuff that I talked about as far as what's attractive to people, where do people's eyeballs go. There's a science to the whole thing.
Oh, and there is, 100%.
Yeah, people like Wix.com, because every time I go on YouTube, I'm hit with you can make your own website. I'm like, no, they can't.
Honestly, I've never seen anybody with a good website from Wix or anybody that knows how to do marketing using Wix. Sorry, somebody's probably going to argue with that, but get in there. Your website, you need to get your hands dirty, don't you, Zachary? And it's got to be a part of you, a live part of you.
Yep. Yeah, it's also, that's another thing. It's not a one and done sort of thing. It's a living, breathing organism that you have to constantly touch, because that Google likes that when you're constantly updating your site. So you have to
They do.
You have to always stay on. Now the technology for Wix and WordPress and all that, the technology is fine. The technology isn't the problem. The problem is knowing how to use that technology, right? So I have seen Wix websites that were good, but it's because an agency did them.
Yeah. Hey, do you use WordPress? Speaking of WordPress, I'm a WordPress fanatic, but is that what you use or not?
One of the many different things that we use. I used to say that everything that we did was using code from the ground up, but WordPress has advanced so much in the last several years that you can actually do a lot with WordPress now that you couldn't do, say, 5 years ago. So we use WordPress quite a bit. The biggest issue that I had with WordPress, and you'll understand this if you work with it a lot, is all the constant updates that happen. You get a plugin update that breaks your site. And it's hit with people trying to hack more than any other site known to man. So those are the biggest issues with WordPress.
Yeah, you do get a lot of that, but you can secure it. And but anyway, people, if you want to learn how to do a website now, is this going to be an online thing so anyone can go, or do they have to be in Atlanta?
Yep, no, it's online. All of Score's workshops since the pandemic have moved to online. They don't do in person anymore. And so you can go to my website, bzacharybennett.com, go to events, and then find a link there, which will take you to Score's website where you can get a ticket and all that stuff. But it's a webinar. It's online.
Awesome. Well, that sounds really good. And hopefully some people will take advantage of that. I'd like to thank you for coming on, Zachary. That was some really cool stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
No worries at all. I'm going to wrap it up. And thanks, everyone, for listening or watching. And I'll see you very soon on another episode.
Thanks, guys.
Short and sweet, Zachary.
There you go.
All right. I'll send you something through when I've got some content for you.
Good. I appreciate you.
All right. Thanks. Have a great day, Zachary.
You too.